Hey folks, this is Nate Levan, Pioneer Field Agronomist up here in north central Iowa, and I wanted to hit on the topic of using variable rate seeding prescriptions in soybeans to combat and manage iron deficiency chlorosis. Now, those of you that grow soybeans in the northern Corn Belt know that this can be a major yield limiting factor, and some estimates estimate up to $100 million is lost year over year in the northern Corn Belt due to iron deficiency chlorosis. And a lot of that's due to that in-field variation and really trying to get that consistent results, and knowing that there's varietal differences is also a piece to the puzzle. But we do know that nodulization and that root exudates, those root exudates around the nodules, actually can decrease soil pH, and actually reduce the effects that we see out in the field of iron chlorosis deficiency. You can see here in this picture, there's actually quite a bit of a difference in the pH of the nodulating areas. So when we took that to practice back in 2014, you notice this is a block that we put a 225,000 block next to 145,000 block, and this happens to be about V4, possibly V3 soybeans, just depending on where you are. And you can see a pretty stark difference in those two blocks. Now, this was just using soil types, and when you went out into the field about that timing, you actually saw a pretty big difference. The plants were a lot healthier, a lot more robust, and a lot less of the iron chlorosis was showing up. So how do you go about making those variable rate blocks? Three things have to be considered. High soil pHs, and especially where you know that you have high carbonates or nitrates, especially sodium too. I like to use multiple year yield history to kind of put these variable rate scripts together. And then, of course, looking at areas here, you can see the zones right in here of the orange outlined by the red. These are zones that have poor drainage and a lot of salt accumulation around those rims of the potholes. Now, how to start? Like I said, you use those three zones. The one thing that I must say, this only does work on wide rows. Anything over 30-inch rows, those plants have to be tightly spaced. They have to have those root zones really close together. If you get into 15-inch rows or 7.5s or 10s, this isn't going to work out for you as well. I like to use 190 to 225,000 as a base to start in those high pH areas, but that doesn't really change in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't really change the whole field variable rate script that much. In this case, the grower wanted to start at about 160 as his targeted flat rate. We put in a minimum of 150,000 here on the red areas as a non-high pH area, and kind of bumped up a couple other areas, and we really maintained an average of only 4,000 more per acre. So if you have any more questions about variable rate seeding, contact your local Pioneer sales representative.
That concludes this Pioneer Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on Pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.